A while back I had a comment on one of my videos that I've been meaning to address. It was on one of my forest thinning videos. I think I was thinning some white oak. Someone made a comment on it that I've been thinking a lot about. This has been a few months ago, and the reason I waited until now to talk about it is I wanted to get some video footage to show you guys what the commenter was talking about, or what kind of situation he was talking about. Last week, some of you probably saw a video I put out. It was a 20 times sped up video of me doing some forest thinning. It was about 40 minutes of thinning compressed into about 2 minutes. It's one of the only videos I've made that I've been compelled to watch over and over and over again, possibly just because I'm amused by the silly squeaky sounds the chainsaw makes sped up 20 times. That was me getting started on a big, overwhelming thinning project I have to do on a piece of forest land I have, which is related to that comment. I saved that comment, so I'll just start reading it. I'm not going to mention his name. I don't know if he wants it mentioned or not, which he made this comment public, so probably doesn't care. It's someone who's local in the area, and he's aware that our forests are in desperate need of thinning. One of the reasons the West is burning up in the summers, our forests are burning down, our towns are burning down, is because the forests are overgrown and they need to be thinned. It's also why a lot of trees are dying from bugs. But here's what he said. Consider trying a battery chainsaw for this type of work. I know that's sacrilege for a guy like you that's so good with a gas saw and have used gas saws for so many years. Yeah, it kinda is. But he listed some good points. He goes on to say, here's a few things to consider with a battery saw. Number one, they're super quiet. If saws were used in the woods as much as they should be these days for wildfire fuel reduction, that's all we'd hear in the woods is saws screaming everywhere. One of the appeals for a lot of people spending time in the woods is it's a peaceful place. I think there are a lot of people who would appreciate not having the noise of all the saws. I, as an operator, wouldn't mind having less noise from my tools. Number two, I asked the Oregon Department of Forestry about battery saw use during fire season, and they told me there are no restrictions. Here in the West, we get very little, if any, rain during the summer. Summer is our dry season. That's why we have so many wildfires out here. When it gets into July and August, it gets so hot and dry, they start putting restrictions on spark-emitting power equipment like chainsaws that could spark a wildfire. Right now and most of the year, there are no restrictions. But when the fire danger gets high enough, they eventually ban public use of chainsaws. For industrial operators, we can still use them, but they do put restrictions. Like we have to shut down at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're not allowed to use power equipment during the heat of the afternoon when fire danger is the highest. On extreme years where the fire danger gets high enough, they'll shut everything down. Check with your local fire people, but around here, it looks like they're going to allow battery-powered chainsaws to be used when gas-powered saws are not. Which surprises me because most of the time, when I've noticed sparks coming off of a saw, it's from the bar and chain, not from the engine. This could be a definite advantage to battery-powered chainsaws if you can use them when you just can't use the gas-powered ones. Number three, gas saws put out a ton of toxic exhaust, which is no biggie for a saw or two, but the 1 million plus saws that should be running non-stop for fuels reduction will have a big negative impact on air quality in the woods. I don't know how big the air quality impact would be there. Most of the time when they do this kind of work, they go back and burn the slash, which probably has a bigger impact on air quality than the chainsaws would, but I consider it from the point of the operator. People who are doing this kind of work are running a chainsaw all day long, breathing exhaust fumes all day long. What kind of a health impact could that have for the operator? Well, battery-powered saws would eliminate that. It's a little bit of a concern running saws as much as I do. Number four, no need to haul gas containers in your rig. Definitely a bonus. Number five, I really like this one. Make your own fuel in the woods with solar panels. He says, I've done it many times and it works. I have a cheapo Greenworks saw I've been using for a few years now, and even it works pretty well. You wouldn't have to buy gas or deal with the mix or deal with those goofy fuel caps they're now putting on the Stihl chainsaws and all the gunk and sawdust that accumulates that's hard to clean out around all the grooves that falls into the fuel tank when you open them up. Not to sound like a tree-hugging hippie or anything, but I like the sound of the solar panel idea. A lot of these fuels reduction crews, they spend their summers as wildland firefighters. That's where they make most of their money. Then they take on these thinning jobs just to keep their crews around during the winter when there's no fires to fight. Around here during the winter, we don't get a lot of sun. That could be a problem for solar charging batteries. But that's only part of the year. There's a lot of the year where the sun will be out, and I think that's a great way to do it. These crews travel around in crew vans. They have the racks on the top where they put their saws and their fuel and all their tools. I can imagine them putting solar panels on the top of those racks. While they're out working, they got some batteries back there charging from those solar panels. I have another viewer up north who comments on my videos. He does the same thing. He uses solar power to charge his electric chainsaws that he uses for managing his forest. He also has an electric sawmill that he runs off of solar panels. This was a well-written, well-thought-out comment that I've been thinking about a lot since I got it. I don't have any experience with battery-powered chainsaws. I can see there could be a lot of advantages to them. My question is, are they good enough yet to do this kind of work? These crews are on thin margins. In order to make a profit on what they're getting paid per acre, they have to move fast. I know a guy who maintains the chainsaws for one of the big companies who does that kind of work around here. He said they use Stihl 462 saws. They put 20-inch bars on them. They knock the rakers way down. They have such aggressive saws that can cut through the wood so fast. When doing this kind of work, they're not just cutting the trees down, but they're lopping them into pieces so they can be piled and burned. A lot of times they'll cut the tree at an angle as high as they can reach. As the tree's falling on its way down, they're already zipping it up into pieces. I just don't know if modern electric chainsaws could keep up with what they need them to do. I got some video footage here of myself doing this just so I could show you what kind of intensity these guys need to do. And my question is to any of you who have experience with modern electric chainsaws, would electric chainsaws have the ability to keep up with this kind of work, or would they just slow them down too much? I don't have experience with them myself, but with some of the reviews I've seen on some of the latest models, you just don't know that they're quite there yet. At least not for the professional crews who have to put out a lot of volume. But I could be wrong about that. For homeowners and small operators, they might be a really good option. So I wanted to do this video just to put the idea out there. For a lot of people, that could be a good option. I'm guessing it won't be long before electric chainsaws are comparable to gas chainsaws. And I have an idea that's probably where we're all going to eventually go. For someone like me who already has a solar panel, if I could charge my chainsaws off the solar panel, I like that idea. For cutting logs and a lot of the things I do, I like the bigger saws with the 32-inch bar on them. But with this kind of thinning specifically, I put the 24-inch bar on. For that kind of work, I could see how a smaller, lighter saw would have some advantages. But let us know in the comments, what are your thoughts? Can electric chainsaws do this kind of work? Can they keep up with what the crews would need as far as speed and power? I look forward to hearing what you all have to say. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.